Alright, yesterday we went over, you learned what mean was as a balance point. Today we are going to learn about measures of center and what they are and how you find them. So this first part of these notes is going to be a review of mean, median, mode, and range, what they are, and how to find them. And then it's going to be how to use them or apply them as a measure of center. There is a note sheet that goes with this, and you should be filling in the blanks and writing everything down as I go along. And if you need to pause, rewind, or anything, make sure you go back and do that. And then this note sheet should be glued into your notebook when you're done. Alright, the first measure of center that we are going to learn about is the mean. And the mean is the average of the data set. So it's kind of like your grade. Your class grade is the average of all of the individual grades that you get across the board. In order to find the mean, you have to add up all the numbers, and then you divide by how many total numbers that you have. So, for example, we would do 2 plus 4 plus 3 plus 1 plus 5. If you add all those numbers up, you're going to get 15. And then you're going to divide 15 by 5 because you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 total numbers. And then you should find your mean of this data set is 3. Alright. Moving on. Your next measure of center and the next thing you probably know about is called the median. And the median is going to be the middle number. You can kind of think of that as like, so in the road, when when you're driving, you're riding in a car. Sorry, that says middle. If there's like the grass or the concrete or anything like that, and in between lanes in the road, that's called a median because it's in the middle of the road. In order to find the median, you order the numbers from least to greatest, and then you cross numbers off on both sides. Until you find the middle number. Important, some of you guys don't remember this, is if there are 2 numbers in the middle, then you have to add those 2 numbers, and then you divide them by 2. So it's like finding the average or the mean of just those 2 numbers in there. Okay. So, for example, if we have 3. Oh, wait. First we have to put these numbers in order. So this data set in order would be 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, and then 19. And then, in order to find the median, I'm going to cross them off. 1, 2, 2, 3, 3. And I'm left with one number in the middle, which is my median here. And that number is 5. For the next one, I put them in order. I'm going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. And when I cross them off, I can only cross off 1 on each side, and I'm left with 2 in the middle. So I would do 2 plus 4 equals 6. And then 6 divided by 2 is going to give me 3. So my mean of that, or my median of this data set would be 3. So when there's 2 in the middle, it takes a little bit more work, but not that much. The next measure of center is called the mode. And it's the number that repeats the most. And mode is M-O-D-E. And then you and so it's most. M-O-S-T. Sorry. You can have a couple different things with mode. You can have one mode. You can have 2 or more modes. Or you could have no mode. So if we look in this data set, we can see that we have a 20 here, we have a 20 here, we have a 13 here, and a 13 here, and then all the other numbers are just repeated once. So our mode here would be 20 and 13. Last measure center is the range. The range is the difference between the highest and the lowest numbers you have. So here we have 30 as our high number and 3 as our low number. So we would do 30 minus 3, and we would get 27 as our range. Now, this is very important to note. Range is not a measure of center. Range is just the difference between two numbers. It will not be a measure of center. It will almost always be one of your options if the question is multiple choice, though, which means you should automatically cross it off. Alright, when do you use other measures of center? How do you know what they are? What does that mean? So, you'll have a question and it'll say, oh, what is the best measure of center? How will what do you use, the mean, the median, or the mode, in order to find the best middle ground representation of this set of data? So, for that, you would use the mean when your numbers are close together, and you have no outlier. An outlier is a number that is significantly higher or lower than the rest. So, if you wonder why your grade is so low in math class or any other class, and you notice you have a 0, and you say, well, I get 80s and 90s and blah, 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 so why did my grade drop so far down? It dropped so far down because a 0 is so much lower than the rest of your grade. So it is going to significantly impact your grade. You use the median if you do have an outlier. So to say, if we were to use the median on your grades, most of your grades would look a lot better than they do. However, that's not how it works. And then you use the mode if you have numbers that are repeated a lot. Or the mode is a measure of center if it is a survey, or if there are no numbers in your set of data. A little riddle to kind of help you remember what these things are is hey diddle diddle, the medians in the middle. You add and divide for the mean. The mode is the one that appears the most. And the range is the difference in between. If you can remember that this little riddle gives you all the information you really need to remember how this stuff kind of works. Once you have all this done, you can go back and make sure you get any information that you need. There is a half sheet that says use when. It just needs to be glued in your notebook. It's just another set of notes to help you know when each measure of center is best used. Just glue it in there, and then there is a practice worksheet that you can work on. And I will check it tomorrow.